I'm really happy to have all of you here today to join us for this really important discussion. I truly believe we're like one person away from really knowing someone who, has cancer or a loved one that has been affected by it. So it's great that we know that cannabis can help, and here today we're going to learn more about it.
Great.
So again, about Impact Network. We are a Denver nonprofit dedicated to advancing clinical cannabis research. Impact stands for Improving Marijuana Policy and Accelerating Cannabinoid Therapeutics. And we do that through research, education, and advocacy. And Dr. Michelle Ross is right over there. She founded the nonprofit. I'm on board as the Chief Development Officer, doing marketing and business development, and Brittany Coffin is our Chief Operations Officer. So we are really happy that you're here today. So something about impact and what we're here to do in the community is really integrate a new culture of healthcare with, aligning together cannabis patients, advocates, foundations, healthcare professionals. Who here is in the healthcare professional clinician world? Thank you so much for being here today. We need more people like you. And then bioscience, scientists and researchers, healthcare providers, digital health technology. We're here to really bring everyone together to really make a case for why cannabis is medicine and why we're here to drive efficacy and validation through research and science. Let's see. Oh, and this is how you can get involved with us. We have our events, our monthly events. You can volunteer with us. Can I get my volunteers to also put your hands up. Those are really great. We have speakers as well. You can come speak. We'd like to have a patient panel. We also on our website, there's places where we put current active clinical trials, either nationwide and also local in Colorado. So please stay tuned to that. And also there's surveys that you can take that are, we're looking to get the data, get patients involved, tell us about their cannabis use. And then hold a fundraiser for us. We definitely welcome any ideas to that to raise money for the organization. And then also donate. And we do have a few people maybe here today that have donated. And thank you so much for your support. And also follow us on Facebook. That is an opportunity and a platform that we have as cannabis advocates to really spread the message and the word. And then I want to thank the Industrial Hemp Research Foundation. Do we have anybody here from them? No? Okay. Well, they are right now our fiscal sponsor. So if anyone makes a donation, right now we've been managing our donations through them. But we did turn in our 501c3 application. So that's really exciting. Thank you again for that. And then now we want to get into Brittany.
So we are a grassroots organization, but we have a mission to fulfill. And this is a collective shared vision, and it's really about creating a community, a force, and to spread this word, to spread this knowledge, not just in Colorado, but out of it. And so our sponsors, we thank them so much for being here because we, again, a grassroots organization, we're starting from the ground up, and without the support of these people, we couldn't be here today. So we thank Sante.
Sante. Do you want to say a few words?
Absolutely. My name is Nick. I'm with Sante Denver. We're located at 2070 South Huron, so just west of Santa Fe on Evans. And I would absolutely love for you to come by, talk to me at our table here. We have a lot of great CBD products, a lot of great THC products. So absolutely come by, stop by the table, and talk to me. Love to see you.
Yes, and I'll also plug that for Impact, they do offer a discount, so definitely come check out their table.
We do 20% off any regularly priced items, so definitely come by.
So come by.
Grab a coupon from me.
That's pretty great. All right, thank you. And then quick shout out to Dunbar. They're not here today, but they're on 25th and Walton, and they were able to hold a little fundraiser for us. We definitely want to put more on like that, but I just wanted to say a word. They're a great, amazing, food and drink place bar.
And then the Hackett Foundation is actually speaking here today, so we did. And then we also have Trill, who is in the back here.
Here, tell me
Oh, swap displays? Okay.
My Mac might fall asleep.
Yeah. Okay.
swap displays. I don't know if that's good. Also, we might have died. I'm so sorry if it dies. I called that.
Alright. Thanks, Mel. My name's Allie. We're with Trill Alternatives. We're a medical dispensary in Boulder. We're about to open our Denver store in the next couple weeks. Where? In Denver, Commerce City, right by Dick's. Okay. Or on Juliet. Which way do I do this? This next? Yeah. So we're here to talk a little bit about our wellness consultation program. Here's our locations for Boulder and Denver. So we are not physicians and we don't claim to be. We offer one-on-one consultations with patients. I specialize in the cancer and chemo. We do epilepsy, anxiety, insomnia. We're basically just the bridge between the doctor and the patient. Once they leave the doctor's office, we need a little bit of help and direction. We just build one-on-one relationships with them to kind of figure out what works best for them. We've been doing this about a year, so we're just trying to kind of get our name out there. A little bit about who we are. First opened 6 years ago. Cannabis Center. We definitely have a medicinal focus, even though we are opening up a recreational store. Located right on Pearl Street, right below Mountain Sun in Boulder. And our owner, Dave, is kind of how we got all into this. His mom passed away from cancer, so he's definitely had a focus in that. Has led us to this consultation program. This is just a little bit about our program. We do one-on-one sessions to discuss the specific individual. We just focus on patient awareness, offer our knowledge and information, and give them guidance. Discuss cannabinoids, delivery methods, options available, where to start, and steps to take. And then we just want to leave the patient leaving feeling confident, comfortable, and in control. These are just the different ailments we've worked on. I specialize in cancer. Lindsay does our pain and inflammation, and then Lizzie does our autoimmune, epilepsy, and sleep. Just a couple details about the program. They are free. We do 3 of them, no purchase necessary, 30-minute sessions. We just ask you to schedule it 48 hours in advance. We prep right in the office, we meet there, we offer discounts, and then our main focus now is collecting our patient feedback and just trying to get the testimonials out there so we can share their stories. What to expect during the consultations. First, discuss their personal details, medical information, your cannabis history and habits. We review that, we come up with dosing, ratios, milligrams, really big on what is your intention. If you have a bad intention going into it, you'll have a bad experience. So that's our main thing for our patients, just with leaving them comfortable to make the decisions on their own, really. How we determine the dose. So we have no magic number for ailments. We do have certain target numbers that we deal with, especially with the cancer. It's easier to try to find more aggressive treatment plans. We let each patient know that dosing is their choice. Always start small and work their way up. So for cancer patients, we start high CBD, low THC, gradually build the THC until they're comfortable, and then how aggressive they want to be depending on how many milligrams, all the way up to about 100 a day for our most aggressive cancer patients. And now just a couple of our testimonials. Kind of how I got into this is my dad was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer in 2014. Right away, kind of got him on a treatment plan, high CBD, low THC, worked up to about 60 milligrams a day of both. Couldn't get much higher than that with him. 6 months later, his cancer was almost completely gone. The doctors had given him a 30% chance of living 5 years. He was on a 3 chemo cocktail as well, but hit hard with the cannabis, which I think obviously had a huge part to do with it. This August, he'll be a year cancer-free. So. This is one of our other awesome patients I've been working with Rich and Mary for about 3 years. She came to us, she was 60 years old, stage 3 brain cancer. We've been working with her again, had her up to about 100 milligrams a day of both, which was a lot, but she just, hit it strong. She sent this to me a couple months ago. Her MRI came out completely clean, no change from the last test. There is no evidence of any cancer cells, nodes, or lesions. the doctor calls Mary her miracle patient. She has had this type of report for over 2 years now. She said, continue doing whatever it is you're doing. We have no plans to change anything and are grateful for you for directing us on the use of cannabis oil. We're accepting consultations in Boulder. Our demos will all be up soon. So we have all the info at the table, and feel free to come talk to us.
Thank you. One quick announcement. There is a Chevy car that's blocking.
It's a black pickup truck.
A black pickup truck that's blocking. Okay, great. Right over here. Thanks.
I'm gonna move up.
And do we want to turn off our phones for the presentation?
Yes, please.
Silent?
Yes. Okay, right over here. So Josh is gonna go. Thank you. Sorry about that. All right. Great. Oh yeah. Yeah. Presentation. Okay. Here's the clicker. All right. Right, Anisha.
Somebody should have warned me. I was 2 seconds. Let's go. Yeah, we were in a crack house tonight.
Yeah, this is it, right? Or not?
We wouldn't even start in bed. You started looking over for another hotel.
That's not it.
Hi everyone. So just so you guys know, we do have to make this disclaimer because we are providing sort of medical information, but this can't be construed as a doctor's visit. Please take this information as educational information that will empower you to talk to your doctor, talk to your nurse, talk to health providers, but don't, take this information and be like, I never need to see a doctor again, I'll just take all the cannabis under the sun. We definitely want you to treat whatever condition you have or your loved one has under the guidance of a professional, such as Dr. Cohen or the wellness consultants at Trill or Robin, amazing people that can definitely help you. So always seek a private consultation, and definitely, it's not always the best environment to air every single medical problem out here. So just, keep it private and get the care you need in this appropriate setting. So thank you guys. Okay, so I want to introduce our keynote speaker. I am so happy Robin is here today. I had the pleasure of meeting her several months ago, and she blew my mind. I mean, I could talk to this woman for maybe 5 days straight about cannabis. She knows more about treating patients with cannabis than any doctor I've ever talked to, any scientist, anything. I mean, we could pick her brain for years. She has so many amazing things on her plate with the Hackett Foundation, which is a nonprofit that's dedicated to treating patients and understanding really the full potential of this plant. So, we're sort of soul sisters here in our mission together to serve patients and change the world with this cannabis medicine. So, without further ado, I just want to say, Robin Hackett, thank you.
Which one do I hit, the sideways or?
The right one.
And just a second too, sorry. I don't know why, but
Where'd I go?
I don't know. It's just what.
So I'm gonna start talking,
Yeah.
even without the slides. Okay, so what brought me to cannabis was I was an iron worker. So I built Coors Field, Mile High Stadium, DIA Airport, but I fell 35 feet when I was 26 years old. So I have lived in excruciating pain my whole life and followed down the path of destroying my liver from prescription drugs and living in more pain than I could handle. I became so mentally ill that I didn't leave my home for 2 years. I didn't answer the phone. I couldn't open the mail. I couldn't think at any level. Then on so many prescription drugs, I just couldn't function, and my liver was going into failure. So I had my first success story, and after that, I said to my sister, I said, we can help other people. We can show them how to live a better life. And I said, you want to go in the marijuana business? And she said, hell no, I don't even want my name on it. What's wrong with you? And I said, oh, come on, you saw me live again. I'm living. and I was just surviving for many years. And so most people, they get sick and suffer, they follow the same path, and I call it the path of the suffering soul. And so what we experience is, first we're very sick, and then we start giving up things. We give up the fun things, going to the park, the movies, those fun events that we used to love to do. First we give those up. Then we start giving up important things, like that graduation party you should have been at, that retirement party, the funeral. I mean, these things that I should have been at. I know I'm not failing forever, but I'm just in too much pain. I'm too sick to go. And then we give up everything. We give up the way we fix our hair, the way we do our laundry. We dust and set something on the shelf, the way we cook a good meal. And eventually we end up a shell of ourselves because we've spent many years and we have not accomplished anything, nothing pleasurable, nothing important, and we feel like a burden to our family members, and we become a shell of the human being we once were. And so when I first meet with people, you know, I explain this because it kind of sets them free. They feel alone, they feel isolated, and they feel like they're just suffering by themselves and nobody's going to understand their suffering. So what I do is I let them know that they're not broken, they're perfect. They just followed the path of someone who suffered for too long. And then we walk back down that path together. And I show them how to live no matter what debilitating disorder they've been dealt. And so, right now, I have spent the last 6 years in the marijuana business, and I have documented over 4,000 people and how they responded to every product I gave them in correlation to their disease and injury, as well as the lab profile. So back in 10, when there was only one lab, I was first in line testing it because I thought, what if I solve a problem? How would I duplicate it again? If I didn't understand what was in that product, how do we keep going and how do we improve it over and over again? So that's how we got there. Am I ready?
Yes.
Okay, so, you know, we treat people from birth to the grave. And I actually had a 2-week-old baby that I started treating for seizures a couple months ago, and she's doing very well, has a chance of developing normally. And she's off of the terrible prescription drugs, and it was scary. It was the youngest child I had ever treated, and she had seizures for 2 weeks because I was too scared to bump her up too high too fast. And so I, you know, in retrospect, I'm like, oh, that poor little bug had to suffer for 2 more weeks, so I got courage to keep moving her up. But we hit her spot, and it worked out really well. And to be amazed, the patches, Mary's Medicinals patches, we started cutting them into 4 pieces and placing them on the top of her feet. And so it kept it in her all the time so that we could keep that, and then she had her doses that she would take in her formula. But it worked very well, and so we were very excited about that new thing that we figured out to do with babies. So that was exciting for us. I specialize in child and senior care, mainly because most people don't want to be high, they want to be well. So what I specialize in is giving you the full benefit of cannabis without the psychoactive effect. If you like that, now I throw it in, but, okay, so the cannabis plant, and I'm kind of going to just do a quick 101 on that. There are 480 natural components found in the cannabis plant. Out of that, there are 111 cannabinoids. But there are almost certainly more waiting to be discovered. They're still trying, the science world is still trying to grasp the testing of cannabis. Each cannabinoid provides varying levels of cannabis benefit, and research has shown that each cannabinoid works best when they are combined. These CBD-only products, they're the biggest scam in America right now. These guys are putting these out on the market. You can buy them on the internet, but everything isn't in there, so they don't work as well. So a lot of people give up on cannabis because they tried a product that only had CBD, and everything else wasn't in it. And so a lot of people are going to walk away from cannabis because these guys, they're late to the game and they're trying to find a way to get into the marijuana industry. So when the plant is, all of its components combined, they call that the entourage effect. Now, These little crystals that you see there, so if we were to blow up the cannabis plant, this is what you would see. It looks like little crystals on the leaf, but they're called trichomes, and they're little oil glands that sit on the outside of the leaf, as well as they combine they almost look like a genetic chain, the hairs in the cannabis plant. The medicine is in these trichomes, and we break them off. There's many extraction methods, and so one of the first things that people come in and tell me, oh, I read on the internet about Rick Simpson oil. Okay, let's get that straight right now. Rick Simpson is an extraction method. The plant that is extracted is far more important than the extraction method, okay? So people are like, oh, I'm eating a gram a day of Rick Simpson oil. And I said, well, how many milligrams is that? I don't know. And I said, well, neither did Rick. We have no idea what Rick Simpson took. Rick has no idea what he took. Yes, he is a cancer survivor. And yes, he did use cannabis to help him live. We don't know what levels he was taking. We don't know what the combinations were in the plant. So when I started trying to treat cancer patients, I went there, saw that, and I thought, well, how would I duplicate this when I have no clue what he did? So then we went back and we looked at a year's worth of 1 gram oil samples that we'd sent to the lab, because we wanted to know how much THC is in a gram of oil, you know? And it varied from 250 milligrams per gram to 600 milligrams. So we were like, wow, so just saying I'm eating a gram of oil a day, who knows what you're eating? And so what we did is, once we extracted it, and we prefer an ethanol extraction because we're capturing most of the plant that way. And then this gooey oil, well, there is no way to dose yourself. A lot of people will tell you, well, use a grain-sized drop, you know. Okay, and then there's this huge stream that's hooked to it, and it's a mess. And so what we did is we worked with Sweet Mary Jane, and we said we gotta be able to measure it to the milligram. If I'm going to duplicate these success stories over and over again, I need to understand what people are taking. I treat children, and Children's Hospital is tracking the children that I treat for glioblastoma. So my medicine has to be very exact. I look at these little kids like they're my own child, and I don't want to be part of the problem, I only want to be part of their solution. So we track them, how well they're learning, they're sleeping, playing, their motor skills are developing. We make sure that we are part of that solution. So in order to accomplish that, she diluted it into a delivery oil, so we could measure it to the milligram. The thing I like about Sweet Mary Jane, she tests every product 3 times. One of the biggest problems we are having in marijuana right now is test results. I can send the exact same oil sample to 8 labs and get 8 completely different results. I have a little tantrum every chance I get down at the health department going, really? We all had to step up to the game. Why aren't we making these labs step up to the game? I should get at least a fairly close. And I'm getting results like, well, this had THC and CBN. Same sample, it's THC and CBD. I'm like, what happened to the CBN and where does CBD come from? So I'm even getting completely different cannabinoids in the test results. So the thing I love about her, it costs her more, but she does not increase the cost of her product. She absorbs that. Her products are tested 3 times. That's how we catch the mistakes. This is what I would give a baby because of her testing standard. Most people are testing it once because the law makes them, and they think that's the gospel. So not every marijuana product is going to be created equal, all right? When we're talking about cancer, we don't have time to fumble around with inferior products. So the reason I'm bringing these up is that I'm going to mention products that have the quality control that get you what you need exactly, nothing more, nothing less, all right? You can trust that these products are correct. And I don't make them, but I have tested them. Now, the Sweet Mary Jane products, I have tested on 4,000 people. I have gotten response to every one of her products with 68 disorders. So this is the most tested product in the state of Colorado right now. Now, There we go. So I'm going to talk about the cannabinoids. Now, we're really only tracking about 6 of the cannabinoids right now, and that's complicated enough. So when we first start growing the plant is mostly CBGA. As the plant starts to mature, it is the precursor to CBCA, CBDA, and THCA. So cannabis is 2 drugs, whether you heat it or not. If you don't heat it, there is no psychoactive effect in THC. You have to heat it to get high. So this is a good thing for people who don't want to be high, that are sensitive to THC. These are good products. So when you see the E or the A at the end, that means they didn't heat it, okay? It's decarboxylated is what they call it when we heat it, but basically, you know, if the A is at the end, it has not been heated, all right? And that helps you understand the products that you're looking at. Read your labels, understand them, okay? Now, THCA is a cancer inhibitor. It's anti-inflammatory, and it has the ability to be an antispasmodic. CBDA is based off of research, a cancer inhibitor, and an anti-inflammatory. CBCA, antifungal and anti-inflammatory. And so sometimes we think, well, inflammation, what does that have to do with cancer? Well, inflammation is, every disease, every injury has inflammation associated with it. So it's always productive to keep inflammation out of the body. Even the digestive tract, if it swells down, it can't wiggle, things aren't moving through right. We're trying to build health because you have a big battle, or your friends or loved ones have a large battle in front of them. And we are going to promote overall body health for your battle, okay? Now, the THC, once we heat it, now it is psychoactive. But in our research, we realized that in 15 days, if you eat the same dose every night, you will have a tolerance to that dose. So this allows you to work yourself up. Now, some people, if they're in the thralls of extreme suffering, the head high wasn't there. It's like the body is absorbing that. So people that suffer a lot don't really get as high as people that have nothing wrong. And they're having a great time. So you could bump up every 7 days if you have a lot of suffering and you're not feeling the impact. So we tracked 1,800 naive users. We took 1,800 people who had never used cannabis before in their life. And we wanted to understand how long it would take for the benefits and how that would react in the body. And so everyone had a tolerance by the 15th day. Some people had it in 8 days and varied between 8, but everyone had one in 15. So you could use that as a rule of thumb. I use that as a rule of thumb for little kids when I'm bumping them up. Now, THC is, of course, a sleep aid. And 90% of the people that took THC, it made them sleep like they had never slept before. And it was great. But 10% of the people, it actually wakes them up. So I'm one of the 10% people. So there's like 2 strains that'll calm me down, make me go to sleep. Everything else is like coffee. And so for most people, that's it. But for me, CBD conks me out cold. I can't even dose it during the day because I get so droppy on it. So if you're one of those people in that 10%, try a higher CBD product at bedtime. And so for me, I like a 1-to-1, and it conks me right out. Sleep is the best gift for somebody, no matter what disease you have. But during your battle, sleep is your gift. Now, it's anti-inflammatory, it's a painkiller, it's going to suppress muscle spasms. Now when we're talking about muscle spasms, when we didn't heat it, it was antispasmodic. When we heated it, it was antispasmodic. If it transfers into CBN, and I should put it at the bottom here, it is also a muscle spasm suppressant. So when you look at that, if I was to rate them, this one I would give a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10. In this form, it's a 6. In CBN, it's a 10, okay? CBN is going to help the most with that. Anyway, as we get down here, the cancer inhibitor, again, this is a cancer inhibitor. It helps with vomiting and nausea. When we're talking about vomiting and nausea, if you're in the thralls of extreme nausea, everything we put in the belly can right back up. And so it was vaporizing and smoking. was the only option because we had to get that belly calmed down. So, normally with a lot of people, they don't like the idea of smoking and vaporizing. In this condition, it is, 1 or 2 hits is going to calm them down. Now, we can eat THC as a preventive, but if you're in the thralls of it, it just doesn't help whatever food you have in it. It is a neuroprotective. When we're talking about cancer, chemo and radiation can cause you to have neuropathy pain for the rest of your life. So you survived your battle, but now you get to live in pain. And so when we were helping cancer patients, what we noticed was that there are 2 paths here. Some people decide I'm using traditional medicine, so when we engage with them, we help them handle the side effects of the traditional medicine. So our role is to minimize the impact to your body for that, okay? And then if you decided, I don't want to use traditional medicine and I would rather just use cannabis, some people decided to do that. And so then we built a different program. So we designed it determining what you're doing with your treatment program. And antibacterial, it kills MRSA, worst form of staph infection. It's an appetite suppressant and a bronchial dilator. We found some research from the late 1800s where they were using THC as a bronchial dilator. And so CBD, of course, she's the workhorse of cannabis. She's a sleep aid. She's anti-inflammatory, like 800 milligrams of ibuprofen, that kind of anti-inflammatory. It's a painkiller, it suppresses muscle spasms, but not as well as THC. You can get some benefit, but THC was the better component there. Now, it's also a cancer inhibitor, and there are many debates on THC versus CBD. It's a neuroprotective. This is important. I mean, everybody that went through chemo that we helped 896 patients with their battle in cancer. And out of them, nobody ended up with neuropathy pain if we were engaged from the beginning of it on. So none of those people had neuropathy pain. Now, a lot of people came to us after the battle, and then we had to take care of their neuropathy pain. It's also a anti-anxiety. Oh Lord, this is a scary time. This is hard. The stress levels, we protect our family from knowing how scared we are because we don't want them to be scared. So we hold a lot in. And to contemplate our own end is very hard to do. And even though your chances are great that you're going to survive it, you are going to play that game in your head. Please use this product to calm yourself, to keep you from obsessive thinking. When we've thought it 50 times and we're about to start 50 more, it's time to put it down. You're not going to win. You need to let it go and start over, okay? And it's all right, it's okay to let your family know you're afraid. They're wanting you to say it because they're too scared to ask you. And so open up those dialects so that everyone can feel comfortable. It's an antidepressant, an antipsychotic. It treats psoriasis. It's a treats seizures and convulsions, bone stimulant. Chemo and radiation destroy our bone density. And when we put CBD into place, we were able to protect the bone density as well. So out of the patients that we took care of, there was about 75% of them, their bones came out of it just healthy as could be. A bone will heal 30% faster on cannabis than off of cannabis. Very well documented. It is also helps the artery walls. This is there's research out of Israel that's showing that CBD is rebuilding the artery walls. In diabetics, we actually documented that after 4 months of CBD, we reversed hardening of the arteries in 75% of those people. And so that was very exciting. But we're about to put chemo right through our whole body. And so the cannabis, I believe, is playing a good role in your overall artery health. Keeping it, they're putting poison right into your artery system. And anyone over 50 can use that. It's a sleep aid. CBC is a sleep aid, again, anti-inflammatory. It's a painkiller. It's antifungal. It's a cancer inhibitor, an antidepressant, and again, another wonderful bone stimulant. Now, CBG is tricky. We're having a hard time capturing it. It's there, we heat it, it's gone. We're really struggling with that, but we think that we'll conquer it over the next year. So I put it on, but it's hard to find a product that has any CBG in it on the market. Okay, so my number one asked question. Okay, so how do I get this benefit? Do I need to smoke it? Should they eat it? Should they use it as a topical or transdermal? Do they need THC or CBD? Do they have to live constantly impaired on THC? Most people's image is that I'm going to be stuck to the couch and playing video games, and I don't even know how to play video games, but once you smoke THC, you do know how to smoke. I didn't make that rule. And then, how does it interact with my prescription drugs? When okay, so in our documentation, what we realized was that you got the most benefit from cannabis if you ate it. Now that was 80% of the people that we had treated. They got very good results from eating it. The thing about it was 20% of the people did not respond at all. They could eat 600 milligrams, never had cannabis before. And they could eat 600 milligrams and they don't feel a thing. And so we believe it's liver function. We believe the liver is not producing enough enzymes to process it. And so we had to find alternate routes for those folks there. But you get more anti-inflammatory, more pain killing, and more of the neuroprotection from eating it. Now topicals, lotions, and soaps. The topicals can help you with on-site pain, a little extra where I need it, okay? And there's a company in Colorado Springs called Tincture Bell, and she makes a topical line, and her rub, I think, is the best rub in the state. And she puts 15 other plants into her rub, and I believe that that's why it is the superior rub. It's not just cannabis. So it's a very wonderful product line. She makes soaps that clean up acne in 3 or 4 days. And a lot of parents were coming to our shop and buying that soap for their kids, because if we could make you, that's not life-saving or anything, but if I could make you feel comfortable and confident in a room as you're aging, well, wow, what did we achieve? Lotions. She makes the best lotion for psoriasis of the skin.
What's the name of that, please?
Tincture Bell.
Thank you.
And we are coming out with the new hemp-based line that would do all these same things, and but we can sell it across state lines to our friends and family members that are out of state. Okay, the transdermal creams and patches. We all have to take our hats off to Mary's Medicinals, Nicole. She's a great medicine manufacturer, and her patches do give a prolonged relief. The problem with them it costs you $16 a day if you go to a store that's not marking it up much. It could be $20 a day. That gets very pricey, and a lot of us can't afford that. So, but the creams, you get the same benefit. You have to apply it, like 3-4 times a day, but it's more affordable. So if you can get those pens that she has, it keeps it in you, just a little bit in you all the time, all right? They're really not as powerful though as the edible, but if you're in the 20%, you're actually going to get some benefit from these products. Anytime you use a transdermal topical, apply it to the top of your feet and around the side. It's where the most veins are closest to the surface of the skin on the whole body. And if you're washing your hands and doing a lot of stuff, you're washing it right off. And so children, we do their feet, because they've got their hands in their mouths all the time. So it's a great application spot. It's gonna go into your bloodstream. They're like, but wait, my shoulder hurts. And I'm like, yeah, put it on your feet, it'll work better. Anyway, but these are we're one of the only options for people in that 20% category.
So is that still going to give you a negative THC test on it?
Oh yeah, you're gonna test positive to almost every product, even those
Okay, but on the
THC.
previous slide, you said that you could use those topicals and you would be able to not test positive.
Yeah, some topicals, they never penetrate the bloodstream, so it's an option for people who can't test positive. So a lot of the tincture bells, they don't go into the bloodstream. Now I'm talking about the transdermals that actually have a component that will take it to the bloodstream, okay? And so, let's see. Yep, I already went over that.
Can I show you off again? Can the 20% that can't eat it smoke it?
Yeah, that's one of their only options. Sublingual, as well as these transdermals, smoking, and suppositories. And if you are extremely ill and you're fighting for your life on cancer, it is, and you're one in the 20%, it was the only way we could treat them. And it worked. It was fantastic. It worked. We solved the problem, but you know, that's not your everyday application for cannabis, of course. And anyway, smoking and vaporizing. There really is no cure in smoking pot. You're just not going to get there. We had people come and they just wanted their program to be smoking. They wanted it, or they wanted it. I'm like, okay. So we tracked them for months and months and months, and very little result. We moved them to an edible, and within 2 weeks we had extremely positive results. So, but I don't want to say that smoking is not valuable, because it is. It's very valuable. Okay, so when you're fighting cancer and you have your dates, you know, I feel good 2 days after the chemo, now I'm starting to feel sick, I have my flu day. Everybody's different when that day hits them. Some people it's 5 days later, but you know, they all have their day that they're very sick. Smoking can help you to cope better with those days, those tough days. So we build your program around your average day. And then we put in place what we call manipulators. So we have little suckers you can suck on, little tiny candies. Mountain High Sucker, very good product, very good product. Especially for small dosing where you don't feel high but you're still getting the benefit of cannabis. It's a very good product for that. And so smoking can allow you to increase your benefit of pain relief and nausea relief on those really tough days. So I wouldn't eliminate it. You know, for people in a lot of pain, it's going to take 2 hours before that edible hits you. And so you need a little something to help me right now. So this is a Band-Aid until you get the tourniquet on. So they, let's see, we talked about nausea.
So real quick though, like Ohio just legalized medical marijuana, and they said that in the law, you're not allowed to smoke it, but you can vaporize it. Do you have, like, you know, are you gonna dab, are you gonna vaporize, are you gonna smoke it, you know what I mean? Like, what do you recommend patients then?
Well, it's, the jury's out on that one, you know. It depends. I mean, what are you smoking? Are you smoking butane extracted, propane extracted? Yeah, you know, most people couldn't handle dabbing, so I would recommend the vaporizing pens for that. Because you can control your dosing and you're not like, well, you could dab and actually hallucinate, you know, and it would scare the hell out of a lot of folks. I lived in the 60s when I dabbed first. I was like, okay, I know what this is about. I was going to wait for it to go away. So it was a little bit scary there. So that dabbing, the reason I prefer people using flower is it's just not as intense. And if you're not a veteran smoker, now a veteran smoker, they might need to dab because their levels are there. I mean, I'm there, and I have to have it.
But I was just thinking like a medical application, you're trying to get like that, the higher potency, which would be.
And smoking, it doesn't saturate your fat cells enough. It doesn't, we're not holding enough of it. When you eat it, it's going to stay in you longer. So smoking with eating is really the optimal way to do it because you manipulate with the smoke, you have your mainstay doses, bedtime, daytime, and those are what you do every day. And then if, I just want to have a little fun, you could have some THC eating it or smoking it. It's not going to hurt the program, okay? And then anti-inflammatory, you do not get hardly any anti-inflammatory benefit from smoking. You really need to eat it, get the sublingual dosing on that. Okay, mental health issues. So when it comes to eating cannabis, of course I always recommend that folks use an indica so that if it's too much, they can go to sleep and just sleep it off, right? Because we've all been there and done a little. And and it seemed like in the edibles that once you got on a program and you really understood your body, you can jump through and use different ones, you know what I mean? So the edibles weren't as specific. It seemed like an indica or sativa were as specific as we needed to get, or whether it was a one-to-one CBD or whichever combination. Anyway, when we're treating mental health issues, the funny thing about that is that smoking is very valuable for a quick manipulation. We call that attitude adjustment. And so it does help you cope with the situation while you're going through it. And but the thing about cannabis was that there is for mental health one that is perfect for everyone in this room. It is not the same one. And so as you work your way through them, you are going to find the ones, and most people, if they've already using cannabis, have found the ones that fit them. And the oddest thing is I've read 8,747, I think I'm 48 now, research papers on cannabis over the last 6 years. And when we went through that much research, well, I thought, well, I know what I'm doing. I read a book. And so I was like, okay, based off of what you're suffering with, this scientifically is the one for you. And people were smelling it, and I thought, well, that's ridiculous. Where on earth would you smell your medicine to pick it? That doesn't pick anything. And I was like, no, scientifically it's this one. And their nose was saying this one. And I was like, I'm so right. I would give them the one I thought for free because I was damn right about it. And then their nose picked this one. And I'll be damned if almost 100% of the time I was wrong. Their nose knew. So when your nose is drawn to a certain aroma, give that one a try. The body is talking to us. We have this endocannabinoid system in us, and it is talking to us when we medicate with it. So our body really does know. It's the oddest thing. And we've done lots of experiments with that. And I don't know how your nose knows, but it does. And so trust that, okay? Now, the psychoactive effect of cannabis, most people are shying away from cannabis because they're afraid of it, or they've been taught it's just devil, it's terrible, and we shouldn't have it. And so what we do is we start you out at bedtime. We have you take your first THC dose right when you lay down. You are already asleep before it hits you. This allows you to sleep through the effects of the THC and start building your tolerance. It doesn't get in the middle of your life. We want to live more vibrantly. We want to be more engaged, especially people fighting with cancer. They need to stay engaged. They need their day hours to be vibrant living hours. And so we like to dose the THC in your sleep. It's easy to bump you up in your sleep. You wake up. For the first 3 days, if you've never used cannabis before, the first 3 days you're going to be very droggy when you wake up. We call it a little bit of a dip over. And it makes you feel like, oh, I'm just too tired, I don't want to wake up. A couple cups of coffee, that'll be gone. The fourth day, that went away. So when we tracked that 1,800 naive users, the fourth day, everyone came in and said, oh, it happened just like you said. I woke up today, I had lots of energy, I felt great, and I didn't have that hangover in the morning. Every time we bump you, you're going to have that 1, 2, 3 days where you feel like a little droggy in the morning. A couple cups of coffee, you're good. So this is how we react, and this was true in children too. They were just didn't want to get out of bed in the morning when we upped their dose. And let me see if I go over everything. Okay, so a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, I need cannabis to be this, but I don't want that part and that part and that part. And I'm like, you know, you don't call Lilly Pharmaceutical and tell them, you know, that chemo would be better if it did do this, this, and this. And so sometimes I kind of get a charge out of people because they think they'll order their cannabis perfect, but we can get it pretty close. So that's the good thing about it. And we never eliminate THC, never eliminate it out of your program. It is a productive part of it. We need to mask it, we need to cover it up, we need to take it while we're asleep if we do not enjoy it, okay? And so now I'm going to move on. Also, I didn't make a slide for this, but prescription drugs. Right now, we have mixed cannabis with 67 prescription drugs. No adverse side effect. So there may be a drug out there that we do see it, but usually we don't. And we also saw certain drugs working better after the cannabis was engaged. So.
Pardon me, like what? Were the drugs specific to any sort of issues?
Well, like for example, one of the products that, I lost my thought. Ask me your question again, I'm sorry.
When you found some drugs that were improved, did the drugs happen to have anything in common? Like, were they treating the same types of symptoms or anything like
Well,
that?
like opiates and pain relievers worked better when cannabis was added. So that would be one of them I could just talk off the top of my head about. But there were other drugs like, well, I spent my life on neural pain blockers. So I'm taking gabapentin, Interon, and all of those. The CBD worked better. I actually have better relief than I had on all of the neural pain blockers that they put me on. So it's quite amazing.
Questions. I recently found out, I think a lot of the lessons that we get are from bartenders, but someone had said if you get too much, that it's oil-based. If you drink dairy, it will enhance it. If you drink vitamin C,
Oh yeah.
drink water, it will bring it down.
What does Mary's Medicinals have out that's supposed to stop your head high? I don't know how well it works.
I've heard
CBD.
Yeah, every even just sugar will bring it down. You get the munchies and then you like ate everything in the fridge and now you're like, oh, I need to smoke again. You know what I mean? Because it does bring you down. So just eating a lot of sugar does help bring you down. Because we've all experienced that. We ruined our high by munching out. And, okay, so with, all right, so 3 days, there's some weird 3-day window with cannabis. So do not give up, do not get discouraged. Most people don't feel anything for the first 3 days, and that's normal. I think their receptors are waking up and things are starting. When we up the dose, especially with seizure kids and adults, we wait 3 days before we up them again because the seizures could be in control on the 3rd day and we didn't need to up them. So anytime you're dealing with something like that, you always want to pause 3 days before you up yourself again. And it's not that it's going to hurt you to just keep upping it and taking more and more, but it is a lot cheaper if you fund your maintenance program, and that makes it more affordable. So when I'm telling you to just pause this, because at the end of the year it could save you, a couple $1,000s. And anyway, so we saw milestones. So on the 3rd day, everybody started feeling some anti-inflammatory, started feeling relief. On the 4th day, they didn't have the hangover anymore. On the 14th day, so anti-inflammatory takes 30 days to get the full benefit of it from cannabis. So at 14 days, we should be halfway there. And so I try to teach people how do you measure anti-inflammatory in your body. When you get out of the chair and you're doing that to get halfway across the room before you're all the way up, you have way too much inflammation in the hips and the back and everything. So you're able to move, more strength in the hands and joints. Those are signs that you have good anti-inflammatory. And then another thing, we talked about good digestive health. And one of the things with digestive health, the size of our feces actually shows how much inflammation we have. If it's skinny like this, your intestines are swollen. So you want, they need to stay unswollen so they can wiggle and move things through. If we're not, then we're building up toxins in our body. A lot of people that are going through cancer, they don't need that. They need their digestive tract to stay functioning, normal. A lot of the treatments will cause constipation, diarrhea. Cannabis seems to help balance that out. Okay. All right, one more. I get a little excited talking. Okay, so anyway, cancer treatment. THCA, what we do with this product is we usually recommend that most people take a dropper a day. Now, THCA is a product that more isn't always necessarily better. We found that people did really good at 5 or 10 milligrams. When we added more, we didn't see added benefit. So we have people do 5 to 10 milligrams a day. The Mary's Medicinals, it has 3 cancer inhibitors in it. So we apply that to the feet. If you had breast cancer, we would apply it to the breast area. People with digestive tract disorders or problems in the gut area, you can apply it right to the belly area. And these tinctures, so Sweet Mary Jane makes tinctures that are 20-to-1 CBD, 6-to-1, 3-to-1, 2-to-1, 1-to-1. And so some people need a little more THC with their program, other people need more CBD. You'll find that. So she's a great resource for those products. Now, real quick before I stop, this is my last slide here. She makes a bar called the Boss Bar. And this product here is an amazing product. It has chia seed and flax seeds, and it has it's gluten-free, it has dried cherries, cinnamon. So she put as many anti-inflammatories products in it as she could. We wanted to promote good digestive health. This product promotes fantastic digestive health. So for people trying to up their THC levels, she makes a 350 milligram bar, which allows you to affordably dose higher. And then after a point, you'll want to start adding this. And I am the Hackett Foundation, and what we do is we link data with the end user.
So please ask the girl while she's here. So I'm using in regards to full spectrum CBD when we have their THC. So I know you were saying that CBD only products are a scam, but what about full spectrum CBD products?
But you still want some THC to help it function better, you know what I mean? And I don't understand why it doesn't have any THC.
I have a lot of clients who lose their GA benefits. They would lose their insurance, they would lose their job. I have a lot of nurses who are taking it. Me personally, THC has never gone along in my system, so I never thought about trying it at night though. So that's kind of how I got involved in it. But
exactly. And so just so you know, when it comes to getting high, THC of course is the agonist, CBD is the anti-agonist.
Right.
If you go 2 times CBD with 1 times THC, you can't get high. Anything above that, you can't get high. So we mask it with more CBD for your daytime doses. Okay, so anything else?
can you go back one slide, please?
Also, the one thing that I wanted to mention is, so what we do is we have a 4-prong approach. We use 4 products to treat cancer. And with those 4 products, I've shown all of them on these slides here, but we have 38 people that cannabis only cured their cancer. We had a woman come, 10-centimeter tumor on her liver. People do not survive liver cancer. And she came to us, she had 6 weeks to live. She had Hep C too. And so she came to me and I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be a rough one, you know, because sometimes you know people are gonna die that you meet with, and that's very hard. And so I said to her, there are no guarantees, and there really isn't. You know, the medical world can't give you guarantees. Cannabis cannot give you any guarantee. Why some people won and some people lost, we don't know enough about it yet to really say, okay? So I don't want to give anybody any false hope. So when she came to me, I said to her, what I can promise you is I can make every day you have a livable day. I can allow you to love your family and to receive their love. And I can help you pass away very peacefully. And I can do that. And I can promise that. But that's the only thing I can guarantee you. There is a chance I could hold it in place for a little while and buy you a few more months. And that would be valuable for you. But I can't guarantee that. And then again, we could treat the tumor. But again, we can't guarantee that. We just aren't sure yet. So anyway, she said, well, I'm going to try it. And I said, okay. She called me back, and I really didn't think I'd hear from her again, to be honest. I thought what I gave her would get her through her time frame. And she called me back in 12 weeks We shrunk that tumor 8 centimeters in 12 weeks. Wow. She didn't have another scan for 2 months, so we don't know what day we actually got her cancer-free. Did she need 2 more weeks? We don't. But at the end of 2 months, she was cancer-free. She was so healthy at the end of it that they were able to do the interferon and cure her of Hep C. She is 68 years old, she is cancer-free, she is hepatitis C-free, and she had a checkup in February. She has 6 months cancer-free now. And the thing about prostate cancer, and see with your oncologists and your doctors, if those tumors are holding, they'll back off. And if you're seeing that the cannabis is holding it at bay, make them wait. You don't have to do if you don't want to. And of course that's a personal decision every human being needs to make. And if it's shrinking, they back away. They're just like, okay. Children's Hospital, I had a 6-year-old. It took us 2 weeks and we shrunk his tumor on his brainstem by 2 centimeters. Wow. He could see again and walk again because it had messed up his eyes. And so it's fallen all over the place. That's how they found out that he had a brain tumor. And so we shrunk it. He has next week his scan, and so we're hoping he's cancer-free right now. Prostate cancer responds very well to cannabis. And the beauty of prostate cancer being treated with cannabis is the male is still a male at the end of that day. So it's worth a try for a male to keep that intact.
What kind of effectiveness have you seen with post-chemotherapy neuropathy with topicals? With people that's not going to ingest it, but they might be open to using a topical?
Yeah, now that CBC rub that I showed from Barrett's Medicinal is a very good one, but I do believe that the Tincture Bell rub, and it's so rec and medical, I believe that it gives you more relief from neuropathy pain.
And is it mostly at that point a relief thing, or do you see any reversal when you're using it topically after the fact?
Well, no, the reversal would come more from an oral application than a topical application.
Did you see fairly good reversals? I mean, after
Oh yeah,
chemo?
oh yeah, yes. And so an oral application of CBD every day would help make it work. My mom's a diabetic and she had neuropathy pain so bad she'd just cry. And my mom doesn't experience any neuropathy pain at all. And she's a diabetic. Oh, and there's research out of Israel showing it's rebuilding the pancreas and making it secrete natural insulin again. And we saw that in the cancer, or in the diabetics that we tracked. We saw that it was 80-some% of all diabetics, type 1 and type 2, all lowered insulin doses between 8 and 10 months. And so that was a very exciting effect. And it helped their artery health. I guess the fate of all diabetics is hardening of the arteries.
Now, with the diabetics, was that THC and CBD combination?
CBD works better, so like a 2-to-1 would be the better option for something like that.
Okay, and I've been hearing about one specific doctor in Israel. Is that the
Dr. Meshulam, yes.
How do
Dr. Raphael Meshulam.
How do you spell his name?
If you just Google Israel and marijuana, boom, you'll see all of it. Yeah.
I have a question about suppositories, and there's been a lot of debate on the dosing either vaginally or rectally, and I'm very happy about another option I'm more familiar with. What's your take on dosing vaginally in comparison to rectally?
We didn't track anyone in that. I have no what on that at all.
With rectal, you gotta make sure you get in there far enough to close the nerve and this, that, and the other.
Actually, I tried a suppository, and let me tell you that story. So, me and the staff, we get the